Hello everybody and welcome back to map number 3 from second game, Tundra against Alliance. We've seen Icebox, that was incredibly... We've seen Haven, that was incredibly close. We've seen Breeze, that was incredibly close. And we're now going to go on to Ascent, which I think is going to be incredibly close once again. These teams are just down to the wire, specifically last map, that Breeze map. That was incredible. It was give one round, take one round, and eventually Tundra was able to stitch together 2 rounds in that final overtime. A lot of overtimes, to be completely honest there. Don't really know the specific numbers, but that's okay. But going into Ascent Moxie, after what we've just seen on both Haven and Breeze, what are you expecting?
A lot of flashes. For some reason, I feel like both of these teams are... Wait, let me see. KO and Breach. Somehow, I feel like we're going to be seeing KO and Breach come out from these teams.
That might be a bit of a stretch, but who knows? Maybe. Nah, I'm joking. That's definitely going to be a Breach and a KO. I feel like there's no way that there's not going to be a Breach and a KO. Also, I think there's going to be obviously a Jet. I think that's just something that both teams are really comfortable with. Like Yassine, really comfortable on that Jet. Lecker also very, very comfortable on that pick. And now it's just a matter of which duo is more difficult to play against. Is it going to be the Breach and the Jet? Or is it going to be the KO and the Jet? Who can find more impact? Who can find more use off of their hundreds of flashes? Who can find more use off of that mobility, and who can really translate that and start snowballing, building that momentum, and just stitching those rounds together to actually close out the map? Because we've seen a couple of timeouts last map, and it's really helped those teams get back into the headspace that they are expected to be in when they're playing these games. But now you've won the first map, like for Alliance, you've lost the second map. It's like the opposite for Tundra. So how are you going to be carrying yourself and, you know, the rest of your team going into map number 3?
So I think, first of all, you sort of just have to refresh the mentality.
Yeah.
For Tundra, like, you're super happy, you're going into this, you're confident, maybe a little bit on the fence considering how close it was, given that was your map pick. But honestly, for Alliance, you just have to refresh the mentality. It happened, it was super close, you both did really well on some rounds, and you both made some mistakes on other rounds, but you should be really happy with the Dream War team that you've actually been able to get together of this KO and this Jet. It's worked so well. Return to the Alliance that we saw in Haven. Right? When they had that timeout, when they had that reset, when we did get to see the sort of game plan get manifested with this team, where they went, okay, Lucker gets value aggressively, KO gets value shutting down aggression. What if we just match them together and put them out into the world? And thus, we saw one of the hardest to break defenses on Haven that I think both of us have seen in Valorant for a very long time. It was created, and I'm sure moving up, as we see all of these other professional teams sort of look at tapes and see how these teams played, we are going to be seeing that pairing coming up more and more and more now that teams are getting a little bit more confident running that KO now that he is finding his place in the meta that we so expected to see. And that does sort of circle back to the debate. What is stronger, the KO or the Breach? They both have really good utility that they bring to the table. Breach, he can do things away from sight. Right? He doesn't put himself into line of fire. He has those walls that he can hide behind, use that utility to put through, especially, you know, think about Ascent A, you're standing in main, you've got that corner with the ult-up, the Breach can just stand, you can flash those players who are waiting around the corner to the left of Arch to let your Jet safely move through. The one thing that KO, I think, does better is the information collecting, with the knives coming through, the suppression. And not just the information that you gather, but also the fact that you can suppress, you can stop people from actually physically being able to use their utilities, which can sometimes immediately stop a Jet from being hampered, right? Sometimes we see the Jets try to move forward, and then it's just smoke, smoke, stun, stun, flash, flash, flash. KO stops all of that. The Jet just gets free sailing.
Yeah, and looking at the team comp that Tundra really likes to run onto Ascent specifically, it's the Astra, the Killjoy, the Sova, and the Jet, as well as the Sage, and specifically Machina on that Sage. Some of those walls that he has been able to push through, specifically, I say, onto that A side, that elevation on A main that you get that allows you to clear out both Hell and Heaven at the same time, and the other team is going to be like, wait, where is this guy pushing from? Because you did genuinely something that you do not expect. So definitely looking forward to seeing Machina on that stage. And as I was mentioning that, there's not going to be a breach. I was going to say that Tundra doesn't run a breach on to Ascent, but Alliance, they do have the Jet KO.
Yeah, I think that's the big cause of concern for me immediately looking at Tundra as composition. Like, yes, this is 4.03. This is not Astronef. You do still have your 5 stars. You do still have all of your smoke denials, and you can absolutely still pick up your stars super quickly and activate them again also super quickly. But at the same time, is it going to be the same level of setup that is there for Yassine as it is for Laka? Because we know, right, so much of Ascent comes down to mid control and getting mid control under wraps. And we know that Laka is going to go super aggressive and look for those angles, and that paired up with the KO, it's an absolute brutal combination that Tundra struggled to deal with until they ran a Viper and a Breach. And looking at the comp that they're running out on Ascent with, I see neither the Viper nor the Breach.
So it's going to be up to that Killjoy maybe to try and make it work, but definitely looking forward to Machina's walls on Sage. I always think they're very innovative and really giving Tundra that advantage. One way coming through from Cider, very standard from those Astra players, and the knife is not gonna initially spot out anyone, and I think it's quite nice to see that Tundra waits just a little bit before they decide to push on that site. They're not giving early information up. Yes, 6 knife has been coming through. That's gonna go on the side from Yassine, but it's gonna be taken out right away. And Cider with a couple of he left managed to take out Nilly, but it's not enough. Looker in the trade. Wonkar does get one for himself, and it's now 2v4 for the side of Tundra. They're gonna get that plant down. The door has been closed, so the majority, if not every single member from Alliance, is going to be funneled onto Heaven to try and get the pick. Krigon gets one hype, gets the trade coming through, and although Bonkar is in hell, he's not going to be able to do that much damage as Hype and Liquor are both still alive. They're going to get the defuse through, and that is the pistol round 1 from Alliance.
Yeah, Zik goes down, but still does the job. You drop the flash drive, you flash Bonker, you force him out away so that he can't control everyone who's up on rafters, has to go into hell to try and keep themselves safe until that flash has run its course, and then Alliance just drop down and punish this over on their own. Tundra, having lost the pistols, are actually going to gamble. You're seeing going to be forcing up onto that Marshall, and that does mean it's going to be a little bit risky for Alliance to try and have that mid control, and Laka not going to be going as aggressive as we see trying to hold on to that angle, is instead going to be taking a look through tree as opposed to up towards pizza. So it's going to be a little bit harder for Yassine to try and figure out where the Jet is going to be playing, as you don't want to push on to B. Look at the crossfire that Alliance have set up. Both the KO and the Killjoy going to be working together in tandem for that crossfire. As there's another crossfire set up over towards this A site, and Lucker is once again just going to be that moving target, so very hard to pin down. It's Tundra just picking up the ult up, backing out, not really wanting to commit. They do actually have Nile stationed all the way up by attack at spawn, just keeping an eye on lobby, making sure that Alliance don't go a little bit over aggressive. Laka sees 3 players and immediately just dashes out of that, wants no part in that engagement, but just that little point of contact has forced all of Tundra away from tree entirely. They've got 44 seconds left. They have no idea what the B is going to be set upon with the Killjoy or the KO. They've still got to go through the gauntlet that is going to be the Nanoswarm utility, and now as Alliance get the information that it's not the A site that's being pushed, it is going to be the B, they have all of the time in the world to be able to pull towards the back of Boathouse, wait for Tundra to walk in, and then just use the utility to play them off the clock.
Yeah, and they're gonna spot out a couple of players, and they have 16 seconds left on the clock. It is do or die. They have to get in right away, but those nano swarms, they're just so difficult to deal with, and Yassine is gonna be able to walk right through it, but it's 10 seconds on the clock. Lucky gets one, Machine gets a trade. Hype with one, Prey gone right on his back, and Hype is just ringing around the roses. He wants to buy as much time as possible, and that is just the time just ticking, and last player standing, but it doesn't matter. Machina might have his share, but Alliance gets that round by sheer time just taking down, and TUNDRA not being too decisive as to what side they want to go to.
I mean, the fact that Laka gets the contact in mid and then has got the dash to be able to get away scot-free. Because TUNDRA can't push the A side, they don't get the jet. They don't manage to loosen the defense or weaken it or get one player away. They don't know how many players are on the A side. If they get the jet, they feel confident. They feel like they can move through tree. They don't know whether the KO is going to be playing alongside Laka. They've gotten so used to seeing Laka teamed up with Zik that they don't want to push tree on the off chance that the KO is there with the flash drive ready for the punishment when you try to aggress. But Laka is out of the way, and TUNDRA can start to move forward. Double marshals, by the way. Absolutely adore to see it so early on in the fight, as Machina is able to get the wallbang onto Fee. Spike not quite moving forward yet. They are just trying to pull a little bit of a response away from Alliance in the hopes that Alliance try and go a little bit too aggressive to look for those trades and try and equalize those number standings. And the A side has just been entirely abandoned. Alliance more than happy to just wait for TUNDRA to actually make a move and play their hand so that they don't try and commit to a site that is actually faked. With those free players, they need to make sure that the angles that they take when it is a post-plant position are genuine and not baited out from them.
Yeah, Zik already coming through with that rotations. It feels like it's taking TUNDRA a little too long to go to that B side. A couple of warning shots being fired. Gravity well.
30 seconds left.
Distort Zik just a little bit. He's gonna be completely fine. And Spider gets one, gets two, doesn't get the third, but Bonker with that Ghost is gonna be able to pick up Cider's gun. Has to get that plan down as the time moves ticking lower. Zik with a Spectre. It's now Liam Bonker left. Hype is gonna be the only player. He has a Spectre in his hand, and he has found those mollies. He knows where both players are. Knows it's gonna be one towards A main, one's towards green boxes. He wants to isolate these 1v1s, and Bonker just isn't looking at him. You're gonna see his cape, and he's pushing right up to him. He's not gonna land his initial charge. A couple of jumps coming through, and they don't want to give him the peaks. Bonker is gonna be able to finish that round off by taking down Hype, and TUNDRA is gonna secure the first round on the board.
Yeah, just not falling for it. Here's the fire, just draws back, make sure that if you do come under fire, you're forced to go for that chase, and Hype puts themselves into the crossfire setup. The fact that Cider gets so many of those players as they move through Arch is not something that should have been happening, to be honest. That, again, it comes back to that hesitation that we do see from TUNDRA coming through, not having that information, not knowing where Alliance are going to be playing, not really wanting to commit onto a site until it's a little bit too late. This is going to be a Marshal on the hands of Laka, slow orb, making it just a little bit harder for Alliance to be able to safely move through. Nearly finally! It's been holding that angle so often when these rounds have started, as patience rewarded, is going to be able to catch Laka, who went just a little bit too far forward without the safety of the KO to fall back onto. Zik floating around defender spawn right now, making sure that if it is a fake, you're able to get that reposition within time, because it is up to this agent and the utility to be the one thing that delays TUNDRA when they actually try and show themselves when the spike is spotted, so it can come through with those flash drives and make sure that there is enough time for Fee over towards this B site to be able to get into position, as TUNDRA not making a move forward. Cider just uses the nebula to move a little bit closer. So dangerous with this judge. Is going to force TUNDRA to just wait the smoke out, or even back off the angle entirely. They have to know that he's there.
30
He
seconds
got so much last time. You've seen Surely just wants to dash right past it onto the site, but it is going to be just Cider holding this angle, waiting for them to walk through. Recon-bot's gonna come through, but you see not able to make it onto the side, and you still have to worry about where Cider is playing with this judge. 13 seconds left on the clock. You have to bite the bullet. It's gonna be a judge right into their head. Defending Killjoy locked in, actually activated, forces all of TUNDRA to try and move forward to take it out. And it means that you're not going to be able to get the spike in time. Nile is detained and just has to watch the Ryan slip through their fingers and the weapon, as that is just a straight up mercy killing.
And that is another round won by Alliance, but just basically Tundra not getting the plant down in time. So undecisive, they have the better guns, they know that Alliance is going to be on a worse buy, but they still don't want to go for it. Completely respect the decision to not push into that judge, but at the end of the day, Cider was still able to do even more damage, I would say, because they played it so slowly that he really got to great position and he got that pick with the judge, but that also just made sure that they knew that Tundra wasn't going to go into that B side because they're not even close to it.
Oh, that could have been a really mean combo. Fragment and Gravity Well. Fragile, so you take the double damage, and Fragment just absolutely tearing through your HP. Tundra, they have to be so careful. They can't go for these really early aggressive plays because Alliance just have the utility to get those picks without even having to show their face. There's Lucka. Gonna be on the A site now and near mid. Tundra really like pushing onto this A. And you can see that they do want to move forward. Cider this time gonna be a little bit further away, not on the corner, not with the judge. He doesn't actually know where they're playing. They haven't been able to pick out the upper's position. Should now be able to get the knives to connect. You said that Tundra, their biggest enemy so far in their attacking lines has been getting the spike down in time, but they should be able to get this plan to go through, especially, you know, given the fact that they do have that crossfire set up. Machina waiting in main to catch any of those players from Alliance as they move through from rafters. Do you even have the time to be able to set your scene up in hell for that crossfire to be just extra potent? Turret gets shot down. Machina does know that the Killjoy is around. Luck is still able to find Kragon though, and Hype from Rafters is able to get Machina. The crossfire, the communication, it wasn't quite there. All of the players peak at different times, and Alliance with the 3 players all coming from pretty much the same area. Just able to drop down from Rafters entirely unpunished. And you can't even take advantage of the fact that someone is in hell waiting to meet them. You're supposed to bait them in. Your scene should have been so brutal, but actually had to move away from hell to try and equalize those picks. And unfortunately, the time has not been taken. The delay not quite enough. And Alliance are able to get a defuse.
Yeah, Tundra is going to be forced onto that eco round. The Marshal coming through for Nilia, but Lockdown and Cosmic Divide ready. 1 point from the Resurrection as well for Machina, but it's a question of whether or not they want to be investing that util in an eco round. Full of hits coming through, and he is going to be forced to back off. Hype still holding that angle. You're going to be looking to tag him as well in the exact same fashion in Blancard with the shock that takes speed right out, and there's 16 HP left on Hype. Calm that is not running the Sage, so there is no healer for Alliance on the board. Careful. And Hype is going to be having to play with 16 HP. Another shock dart is going to come through, and Hype is so cautious, does not want to walk into it, and honestly, I do not blame him. That turret acting as a 5th member for now, and Lucker's not gonna connect those initial shots, but the rest of Tundra seems to be keen on pushing that B site, whereas Alliance still has 2 members on A. They don't want to overcommit to that rotation. They know this is gonna be an eco round, and they don't feel comfortable unless that spike is down, and unless it's a clear, obvious be hit, and by the Cosmic Divide and the attacking Killjoy coming through with that lockdown, it looks like it's definitely going to be B-hit. They're gonna be spotted out, and both of them gonna be forced into boathouse, but Lucker just not quick enough. He's gonna get detained, and they are hunting for him. Hype trying to protect his body. Gets 1, gets 2! Yes, in game, and coming through with that trade, nearly with the Marshal. The spike is down. They have 13 seconds on the clock. They know one's gonna be in boathouse. 3 players against 2. Cider and Zik make that a 2v2. With the turret being out to make that a 2v2 for sure. Turret is always going to be playing as an extra player, and now it's going to become a matter of whether or not they can win those duels, and they can indeed, which allows Alliance to get the diffuser, and that was a lot of util invested from Tundra. The Cosmic Divide, the lockdown onto that B site, and still just not enough to get that plan down and hold it.
I wonder if they were expecting Hype to be there. Like, they get the information, they know that one player is detained in Boathouse. And they don't really start pre-firing either, so it didn't feel like they were expecting Hype to be able to go for the weaponry, and he's able to get the spray to come through and connect onto 2. There's the heavy machinery. Odin brought up.
Uh-oh.
They're gonna be taking prime position. It's a sign. It's a checklist.
Yeah.
I feel like every single Valorant match just has that one little thing that you have to adhere to, and that's if you're a Ascent and you're a Sova, you're defending on B, at one point, at one round at least, you do have to buy into the Odin and just go for the recon vault into the spray. And I just gonna make things just a little bit harder. It's gonna get a lot of information for the team. Does manage to see where the jet is coming through, but unfortunately for V, you've actually pulled a little bit too far away, so you can't get the wall bang, but because you've pulled so far away, you can catch Tundra out before they're able to actually pull onto this side. Fucking not able to find anything right now, as V is just all the way up in Boathouse. Has stopped them from planting, by the way.
Yeah, time is ticking, but I think they still have a little bit of time going through. Nearly gonna pick up Zik. You still have Fee in both houses with that Odin, and it doesn't look like it's something that Tundra wants to deal with. Gonna be running towards that A site, but oh, as I was gonna say, Cider is gonna be able to catch them out. That is actually not going to be the case. Nearly turns right around in time. Gets that pick. They're now going to be comfortably moving onto A side. 30 seconds on the clock. Couple of mollies onto that spike, just in case. Going to also be moving into post-planting positions, and Feed did pick up the Phantom. Doesn't have the Odin just now, and Nearly, as he's going to look around that corner, Nearly is ready for him. Takes him right out.
Oh, that would be an interesting weaponry round, wouldn't it? If you can buy an Omen and equip. What, does it just rapid fire dark covers and paranoias?
That would actually be too broken. Please, Riot Games, do not listen to anything we're saying on the broadcast today. Don't make this something. Thank you. One paranoia is more than enough. That's all we need. Thank you so much.
I mean, hey, look. Previous patch Odin hit the same level of damage that the dark cover and paranoia spamming Omen in patch 4.0 will inflict, but that is a very early Hunter's Fury coming from Fears. It is the safety wiggle coming out from Tundra. It has allowed Alliance as well to just be able to move up and control ult orb. So just baiting Tundra into taking these fights, getting so much information cycling through both with the Sova and with the KO. It's even reduced to 27 HP. Really wants to try and grab that up because now the knives are ready. But for Tundra, you've already lost Machina. Alliance have lost Looker in the process, though, and they are hunting, just moving through mid, knowing that Tundra perhaps not having that mid control, not really vying for it. Might not be ready for it. Fee gets 2. Kragon does manage to get this over out of the way, but you are going to be running into Hype, who's just holding in position, sees them coming, does have the lockdown in the pocket as well, but
one enemy remaining.
Vic, unexpected, waiting in the wings, is able to catch Yusin's back. Kragon not able to get the spike into the ground, and you do feel like Tundra were just forced a little bit on the ring around the rosies the second that Alliance just pushed them all out of A main.
Yeah, it's looking good. They're able to dodge Hunter's Fury, doesn't connect, doesn't really do any damage. They even get the pick off on Looker. Machina then puts the wall up, gets traded out, and they kind of lose some of that control onto A main. A couple of rotations are going to be coming through, but Alliance, they're on their end game this map. They really want this win, and they expect those rotations to come through. Zik pushes out aggressively, finds a couple of beautiful picks, and so does Flea, as Tundra is just left scrambling for a couple of rounds, or just even a plant potentially. But Hype here, he is going to be left scrambling from somewhere to run, and you're not playing a duelist, unfortunately. You're not going to be able to get out of that, and the Molotovs didn't come down either. As a killjoy utility off the map, which allows Tundra to slowly inch towards mid, and as they call that out, Cider is going to be on their trail. They decide that maybe it's not the play that they want to go for initially, but they have to rotate and hurry up because Alliance, they're just constantly playing so aggressively. Bunker finding another pick for Tundra. SV is being put down. It's now a 5v3. And looks like they are looking towards the A site. Cider is still holding it. Couple of Nebulas available have been put down. Oh, no. And he's gonna catch Rhaegon in chess master form, or as some people like to call Astra form. Not very chess master doing it in the open, but you know, I don't think he expected anyone to be there.
Do they know that Zico? Well, now they do. Edward's going to be coming through, but there's the two flash drives flashing everybody out. Look at just waiting.
I haven't spotted him just
They don't know. They know that there's someone around. They will be able to get the plant in time. Cider, who was still on the A, is going to be a little bit late to the party. 1 versus 3. Cosmic Divide is ready, but doesn't even have an opportunity to use it. And I mean, the fact that Tundra are able to take Hype out of the fight so early on is absolutely massive. Because Hype was holding on to that lockdown. And Tundra did not yet have Hunter's Fury. Blanca was 1 ult up away from the ultimate coming online. And the fact that you were able to not only get the Killjoy out of the way, but hold on to the ultimate for the Sova, does mean that now it is the game, the ultimate chicken. Will we see the lockdown invested, or will we see the Hunter's Fury invested? And whoever blinks first, there's always a hefty punishment for the other side.
I guess we're gonna find out. Maybe this round, maybe next, but we will for sure find out this half, as there's only 3 rounds left, including this one. So Alliance looking to stretch their lead, and Tundra looking to close it out. Gonna be forcing Lucker to dash away. He is on that marsh with Gravity Well. Gonna disrupt just a couple of players, and Cider's tucked away in Wine, but not anymore, because Bunker is on the case, and he has the lineups. Takes him out there, allows Lucker to dash through, but don't think they noticed Lucker dashing, picking up that Phantom. He is now the one tucked away in Wine, and no recon bolt available to spot him out. The flash is gonna come out. Yassine unsuspected, taken down, equalizing the amount of players on both sides of the teams, and now it's just Tundra. They have to decide what side they want to go for. Resurrection is gonna be coming through as well, so it looks like an A push for sure. Whereas Rhaegon is gonna go on a trip, and that's one of those walls. Hunter's Fury is gonna come out this time. Lockdown has still not been invested in. Yassine does take Zik out, Flea and Lucker taking 1 apiece. Machina trying to spam through the smoke, but Rhaegon has already finished his mission as he finds them right in the back, not even looking at him. Lockdown now is gonna come through as Hype feels more than comfortable investing at 2 HP in Lucker. Hype full HP. Looking like a 2v3, it's looking rather difficult. The spike has already been planted, and 1 player is detained. Hype finds 1, now it's a matter of finding the other players. Machina is slowly walking up, but the defuse is gonna be stuck because pros don't fake, and that is a round win from Alliance, 7-3. Yes, they might all fall, but the ultimate sacrifice, winning the round, has been achieved.
The lockdown as well, like, they know that there's a player around mid who's going to be moving up into tree, but they also know that they don't have the time to go chasing for them. So the lockdown guarantees that you buy yourself enough time that they're not going to push onto you until the lockdown has run its course. So you can get onto that site, you can punish the 1 player who gets detained, and then you can stick the defuse, and the player who's moved through mid, who's trying to push up through tree and catch your back, they don't arrive in time to stop the defuse from going through. Which is why Alliance are more than happy to trade a lockdown for a successful win. Because remember, Bonka used that Hunter's Fury to try and get Tundra through a main onto the site to get the spike so that they could just play that delay game. Especially with Nila being so close to a Hunter's lockdown and Rhaegon a Cosmic Divide of their own. But it's an Alliance timeout, as surely they are remembering the lead that they were able to start off on Haven, and the fact that Tundra, every single time, were just able to adapt around their strategies, twist them, shift them, turn them into their own. So even 4 rounds difference, it can be closed up extremely quickly if your economy is not in the correct position.
Yeah, based off what we just saw last round, Moxie, who do you think came first, the chicken or the egg? The century-old question.
That's my answer. The Hunter's Fury came first.
It did, and although it got them a bit of space, that lockdown, just having that online was so good. And Alliance just really played off of that.
Oh, Hype is there we go. Hype not going to be holding quite so close with the judge. They're going to be creeping their way back up now that that utility has run through. Not able to find themselves in the corner. Cosmic Divide going to be coming once again. Cutting both of B and A. And in fact, this is a really, really smart fake. Because so much utility, both the Cosmic Divide and the Lockdown are actually affecting the B side, but Spike hasn't been spotted, and Alliance have realized, which is why it is a stampede towards the A. Cider has been able to get Kragon out of the way, but Machina has fallen as well. And unfortunately, all of the Lockdown, all of the smoke and mirrors that you invested on the side of Tundra, it's now expired. You're not in hell. You don't have a crossfire setup. You don't have control of rafters. If you can just drop down. Hype is looking for a way onto rafters while Fee tries to bait out where the remaining players are.
Dash is going to be spotted out by Hype as he taps it once again. He does take out Yasin. He's gonna put that turret down just for initial cover, but Bunker does take out Hype. It's now looking like a 1v1, but the clock is ticking and Bunker doesn't want to give that peek. He does get spotted out and Hype decides to book it. He's not ready for it. The time is ticking. There's nothing left for him to do. And round secured for Tundra, and this is something we saw on Breeze as well, where they invested 2 ultimates onto the A side, they ran onto B side, and this is just a yoink and twist. Just do it exactly like they did, steal it, claim it as your own, make sure it works, and there you go. Tundra is able to close that gap just that much further. And Alliance was the one that called the timeout before this round, so you'd expect Alliance to have a very clear strategy as to how they're going to be dealing with this, but instead they don't. Instead, Tundra really enjoying that timeout themselves, really playing off of that, and they get around and they're starting to close the gap.
Well, Turret is going to spot out the players trying to move through main. Melee is able to get Hype, but Hype is also able to get Yasin, and that forces Fee into using the Hunter's Fury. But again, Alliance is being very careful, not wanting to entirely abandon the A site, remembering the ultimates that were invested from Tundra when it was all just a big old bait. So not pressing forward too aggressively, just waiting for Tundra to walk into them. Look, it's just going to be holding this angle. Ooh, thinks maybe there's a player in the corner. Here's the Killjoy utility start to charge up. Six actually throwing in that 0 point. Try and figure out whether or not there are players around. Spots them on the exit. And now you know that they are starting to move away towards mid. Not actually going to be contesting it, just allowing Tundra to move through. Cosmic Divide going to be coming up, making it a little bit harder as well. Because now Tundra are going to get so paranoid that they're going to have no sound cues. They're going to have to check all of their angles. And we've seen Alliance really does thrive when they force their opponents into that mad dash. But Lucker is caught a little bit unawares, not expecting them to be out of market so quickly. And now it's up to Fee to just jump out and try and stop that spike from going down. 18 seconds on the clock. Cider, who was all the way on the A side, is now going to have to try to get back into this with the judge in hand. 0 point goes through, but it hasn't actually stopped the spike from going down. Zik throws the fragment, is actually going to be able to figure out that Kragon is hiding in that corner, but Kragon has actually traced the trajectory, is able to shoot the KO. And now it's just down to Cider with the judge. Have to pop out of the nebula into the slow orb. Sound Q gives it away. Bonker immediately able to get the pick. And Tundra, they were up against the clock, but they were able to get onto the site, they were able to get the spike down, and all of Alliance's plans that they'd put in themselves, the sound cues being muffled, turns against them.
This is the maybe third, fourth time so far this game, or this day alone, where the Cosmic Divide, yes, it's good by muffling the sound cues for the other team, but it's doing the exact same thing for yours, and a lot of the times we've seen that teams are really good at, yes, it might not be our Cosmic Divide, but you know what? We're just going to use it to our advantage. And we've seen Tundra do it a couple of times. We've seen Alliance do it a couple of times as well. But definitely interesting. It was the last round on the half, so Cider felt like that had to be invested. It was ready and could have played off, but like we're just getting caught out, not fully expecting them to be pushing through mid. And something that we haven't really seen from Alliance on the attacking side is that mid control, and that is something that this time Alliance is looking to play off of. But Tundra seems to be ready. They do, however, lose one member. The wall from Machina on Cat needs to be broken, and he gets one off of that. Beautiful stage walls. I bet has to be a TikTok wall for that as well. There is a dedicated TikTok account to sage walls hype. Gets bunker. No, there actually is. I wish I was joking,
sure
but there is.
I'm sure there is. Like some of those sage walls that you can get, like the one-way sage wall on male.
Oh
yeah, it's nasty. It's nasty.
Yeah, and Alliance is also nasty. They put down the members of Tundra, and they're not gonna get that plan down, so not an extra bonus of that money coming through. But it's looking like they won the pistol round, and this was looking good for Tundra initially. But Alliance was really able to just push that momentum specifically through mid into market onto that B site, and it worked for them, and I'm sure they're going to be looking to exploit that once again. But this time, look at Tundra's members all onto mid. They don't want to give control up once again.
I mean, they've got the Marshal as well. Yassine's just going to be hiding in the cluster of members. It's a little bit like a porcupine position, isn't it? All of the curls just ready to stick out the second that you try and challenge them. But Yassine now has been able to actually move into market. Forced away, fragment coming through. Tries to shoot through the smoke. Remember, there isn't a lot of punishment. The shot can connect, but Hype has actually been able to move all the way through defender side spawn and catches Machina out. No Sage, no slow up, no wall. And Alliance full pelt gonna get that spike down now that they know there is no player at the back of Boathouse. It's their space. It's gonna be really hard for Tundra now to try and actually aggress onto this, especially with Yassine just smoked off on these sides. As Tundra are going to be trying to bait Alliance into trying to take angles where the Marshal is going to be able to still have an impact in the fight, but Alliance can really just hold at the back of Boathouse and force Tundra to come to them, because at the end of the day, Tundra are the ones who have to try and get that defuse going through. If they flash the Yassine, they're able to just absolutely collapse on the jet. As Nile arriving a little bit too late. Has the pistol, but might just want to try and catch out members of Alliance as they try and escape that spike detonation. Nope, they're just gonna go down to it themselves.
9-5 for Alliance. One round off of those double digits, and so far from what we've seen, if you get into the double digits, the teams have been able to secure the map. So it's looking rather dicey for Tundra. They have to come up with something to be able to close the gap. 4 rounds that they need to win back to back, and they are going to be able to get a better buy in comparison to Alliance going into this round. They have those Phantoms and the Vandals coming through, a couple of light armors, but you know, when you're up against a Bulldog, a Marshal, a Ghost, I don't think that matters that much. And Alliance, first going for that B side, that B hit quite quickly. They also had that mid hit in the pistol round that forced Tundra to feel like they had to stack their members on to mid, and now they're looking towards that A. They don't want to repeat the same thing, but Krigon with the 3K coming through, putting all their plans to shambles. He now gonna get the 4K. So Hype left all by himself in a 1v4 situation, but Yassine takes him right out. And that is what Tundra is looking for. That momentum, that confident, strong, aggressive play that allows them to take a round and just forcing that gap to be closed that much further.
Yeah, Tundra have been able to close up the distance between themselves and Alliance all series. So we could very well, with the momentum now in Tundra's favor, be starting to see them just inch these rounds out, spin them into cycles. This Alliance looking a little bit more uncomfortable. Most of the teams do have rifles. SMG going to be in the hands of Cider. Stinger coming through, everyone else rocking the Vandal. Tundra, they know this is an important round for them. They know that they have bought into a full buy, but they do want to make sure that they carry as many of these weapons through as they possibly can. Sage Roll going to be extremely early coming out from Machina, just trying to again stop Alliance from being able to freely move from main onto this site, buying members the time to be able to get a little bit of information or even funnel Alliance back through that contested hotspot that is Garden and Tree. As not seeing any movement, not getting contested through main is actually forcing Tundra to reposition. Nearly going to be taking a little bit of a cheeky angle over in one, but they're not going for that mid control. And Alliance, if they want to, can I try and splint it onto the B site through Defender side spawn? Because it is just Yassine trying to hold down the fort.
Bonker's gonna have to move towards both houses, which is a rather safe position to be in. 30 seconds and Cosmic Divide has been invested. Bonker has that beautiful angle, gets a 2k, gets a 3k. Machina right back with a pick himself, and Lucker, although he does take a Bonker, Machina is still left unattended for. He is gonna updraft, he's gonna reposition. But Lucker is gonna have to do this with 6 HP against 3 members. Sure, the spike has been put down, but they're looking to the fuse and the wallbang. Just not gonna come through. He's gonna hold on to that Vandal, but they are gonna be losing that round. 2 rounds left for Tundra to close the gap, and they're carrying this momentum. And Alliance, they were on an equal round last round. They now finally get that buy. They get the Cosmic Divide that's gonna be coming through from Krigon, and it was huge. It was so instrumental for that round. Now, once again, Alliance, they don't have the creds to buy.
Surprise! A game that is so centered around sound cues. When you take sound away from teams, it becomes pretty impactful. Tundra 2 points away from equalizing things on Alliance. And I mean, they are on a comfortable buy. They've got the rifles in their hand, they've got the utility, the armor. They can get a little bit aggressive if they want to, but Alliance are the ones who are forced to try and check these angles, making sure that Tundra isn't hunting them down. And remember, Tundra are on the defense. They really don't want to try and go for these early peaks, especially with Zik just holding this angle, hoping that Yassine is going to go a little bit over-aggressive into A main. And Tundra and I can just play the clock. Alliance can feel a little bit of fire beneath their feet. They know that they have to get a little bit of a move on. 51 seconds left on the clock. They haven't decided where the spike wants to go. It's noise being made on the A site, but the KO, Zik is actually making his way towards the B. The problem is, you're going to be running into the stage, and the second that the stage actually hears the movement, that wall is going to be able to just cut you off from the team. There's the slow up coming out, the Nebula making it a little bit harder. Machina not able to stop Alliance. Still able to bought the time for the rest of the team to come in through Defender side spawn. Spike has been down, 17 seconds on the clock. Fia is not going to be able to cleanly get to Lucker. And yet, there it is. Spike planted killed. Tundra cutting off the plant. He is able to hold one, but not able to find the round, not able to get the spike into the ground. Tundra, 1 round away from tying things up with Alliance on the 3rd map in the series.
The timeout that came through a couple of rounds ago was from Alliance, and it looked like after the time, like we mentioned a couple of times how timeouts have really allowed teams to progress further and to strategize accordingly, but it looks like the timeout that Alliance had called earlier just didn't let them, it just let them down. It didn't let them actually do what they wanted to do with it. They have lost more rounds than they won after they've called that timeout, and here you go, timeout.
Tundra.
Yeah,
honestly, it benefited Tundra more because they got the time to talk through their strategy, and they were the ones who really came in with it. Alliance, another timeout going to be called. They understand the position that they're in. They were so far ahead, but Tundra now with the momentum beneath them, the wind beneath their sails, they are starting to close that distance. They're 1 round away. Their economy for both of these teams is so close that it really is going to come down to this round to determine whether or not we see Tundra start to chug ahead and Alliance actually find themselves falling behind, or if they're able to finally find that point that they're looking for to continue the momentum that they had, that they were able to hit the ground with when we started off this map.
Placing swarm grenade.
They've got the ultimate, so you've got a lockdown available. Look at how they're playing this A side. It is open for the taking. They want to invite Tundra in. It is just going to be a little bit of a gamble on the operator for your scene coming through. Gamble pays off. Zik is down. Lucka alongside. And Alliance might want to hold on to the ultimates that they have available. This is a round that they bought into. This is a round that they knew was important. They called a timeout so that they would be able to talk through strategy. But that strategy has very quickly gone up in smoke, as now they are missing the 2 agents who were their ticket onto this site, and Tundra know.
And Tundra gets 1, gets 2. He left all by himself to fend for himself, to secure some of these wins. Gonna go inside and never left. Playing a little bit of ring around the roses. Doesn't manage to take anything really, but it doesn't matter because Gregon is right back at him. It's now dead equal in terms of the rounds. And again, we're seeing Alliance call that timeout. We're seeing both teams just taking a bit of a breather, trying to put everything back together, trying to figure out what exactly they want to do. And Machine is like, you know what, guys? I haven't really tried a wall in mid just yet. And it looks like Alliance seems to be slowly trying to gain some of that mid control. So you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna put a wall right up. And he does. And he gets the first pick off on Zik. Then Yassine comes through with the operator, picks off Flucker, and the team is left trying to fetch and trying to figure out how are they going to be getting onto that site, because your flashes are gone, your dashes are gone, you have the Killjoy, you have the Astra, and you have the Sova, but that's not really the group of agents that you think that are going to be able to get you onto the site. So they have to give that up, and then Chandra just collapses on them. And now that the gap is completely closed, is dead equal, but Alliance is on an equal round. They have to make this count as much as they can, but even if Tundra loses this round, their economy is so good. They can afford to lose this round. They can buy up next round. And they're not... This is something that for Alliance is just so scary, because if you lose you're going to be losing this round, you're already going to be into double digits. You're going to have to buy next round. If you lose that one, it's even worse. Machine and Krigan, again, starting these rounds off so strong, getting 1 or 2 picks, not overextending. Get a pick, they get 2, and they're like, okay guys, we're going to back off here, that's it. And that just leaves Alliance with the inability to get onto these sites. Sure, you get a couple of picks yourself, like he does right here, but they don't have the numbers advantage, they don't have the util to get onto that site, and Rigon and the rest of Tundra are so patient. They don't want to give them the peaks, and they want to force Alliance onto the site themselves. Gonna get taken out, and that's double digits for Tundra.
Yeah, I think that's twice now in a row we've seen Alliance lose these really key agents a little bit too early on, both Lucka and Zik falling, and then they do hit that hesitation. They don't know how to get onto these sites, and Tundra, the second that they're able to find those picks on those 2 agents, they do pull back. They cut contact. They make sure that they just sit on the site and wait for Alliance to have to walk into them without the utility to be able to safely get through and cover them as they move out of these really quite dangerous chokes that the defense, if you have an eyeful of, can absolutely just rip you apart as you move on through. Operator going to be in the hands of Yassine. It's been finding an awful lot of value. Shot coming through onto mid, then immediately just pulling back. Waiting to see whether or not Alliance are going to use a lot of that utility. Null command now going to be invested from Zik. This is something that we did see from them coming out onto Haven! And Yassine knows! The second that you use the null command, that's when Alliance start to really move forward, is able to find the shot with the op. Hunter's Fury from Fee is allowing Hype to stay in the team with the Vandal. They've been able to pick... Oh, they weren't able to pick Zik back up. An attacking Killjoy lockdown is now going to force all of Tundra to reposition, and does allow Alliance to come back in. This is the trap. If you try and move up through rafters, you are going to run into those nano swarms, and there's the pick. Hype able to find Machina off of the back of that. And what looked like a really good off opening from Tundra is very quickly falling apart as Alliance still able to get the spike down into the ground, still able to get the post-plant positioning that they so desired. Tundra Cosmic Divide gonna be going up. We know that it's alliances. We know that in the past, those Cosmic Divides have actually benefited the enemy team more. But this time around, the Cosmic Divide is not in an area where Tundra are going to be muffled as they approach. They're able to find Cider. But it's not the crossfire that you want. And remember, Alliance just have to play the clock. You don't need to peek! Despite that, Nile not gonna have time to go for the defuse and has to allow Alliance the point.
Yes, they win the round. Yes, they get the point. Yes, it's tied up to 10 and 10. But Tundra, they're going to be comfortable buying their guns. They're going to be comfortable buying their util. But then on the other hand, Alliance, that was the last straw of their economy. They needed that win. They needed to hold on to these guns. But they gave Nile the 1v1s. They gave him those duels. And he played off of that. And now, when you're looking at the buys, it's a Spectre in the mix. There is a couple of Vandals coming through. But all in all, it might not be as dire as I thought it would be. But it's still an operator available for Yasin. And so far, Yasin on that operator has just been doing so much.
Yeah, Vandal in the hands for Lucka. No operator to counter. And that means that you are going to have to use a lot of that utility to keep Yasin under wraps. As Lucka just wants to really make sure that Tundra don't have a grip on B main, creating a little bit of noise. Akana still holding the angle on top of the wall, is going to get a peek! Is able to find Zik as they move across the corner. Yasin surely knows that Lucka is around, wanted to try and look for something to trade, is now going to be holding that angle so patiently, waiting for Lucka to try to move in, knows that the enemy jet does not have an operator. Wall starting to crack and expire, is now going to be forced to back away just a little bit, but the buddy system is in full effect. Oh, it's a dirty shot! Yasin's able to find Lucka and then dashes immediately away. All the while, Tundra have actually been able to move through mid, up into defender fight spawn, but they are caught out. Nile going to be able to pick up one, pick up two. Hype does trade things out, but it is just the killjoy. And it is going to be Tundra, 11 points on the board to Alliance's 10, 2 points away from match point. Operator still in the hands for Yasin. Knives, even if you pressure the jet into missing that first shot. The ultimate that you can fall immediately back on, so you can't even try and pressure the jet as we've seen Alliance do in the past. And it is going to be a broken buy coming from this team because they know if they try and force things up, and they lose this round, and they're on a force when Tundra are on match point, Tundra are going to be able to defeat Alliance and their golden streak is gone.
Yeah, and initially Alliance mentioning that it's a team that they are a little scared of, but Tundra proving that it's just much, much more than that. They can go neck on neck with Alliance. Sure, might have lost the 10 star, but they are still such a strong team and a force to be reckoned with. Alliance is gonna have to rely on these pistols, a couple of sheriffs as well that they have in the mix. Try and get a couple of picks onto the side. They are now safely on the side, but they haven't really picked up any players just yet. And they're able to get free with one of his own. Finishes off the round, takes our free, and that was an incredibly quick round for Tundra. 12 to 10, match point. And this is do or die for Alliance. If they lose this round, that's it. That's it for them. They've going to map 3. This is map 3. They're not going to map 3. They're gonna be losing that golden streak that you just mentioned, Moxie. They have been undefeated so far. They have also called both timeouts, which actually did more harm than good because it has allowed Tundra to strategize. And Tundra is so strong on this map so far. They have not given Alliance the room to breathe. There were a couple of...
Comes through. Doesn't find much information. Yasin still got an operator. Alliance not going to have a counter-op once more. Look at Tundra. Just letting Alliance a little bit closer towards this A site, really wanting to bait them out. Nila just poised with that lockdown. Knows that she is not going to have the Hunter's Fury, that if Alliance want to counteract this, they have to drop a lockdown of their own. And that's always going to benefit the defense first, because Alliance are the ones who are intruding into that space. And if they get delayed out of this site, they've lost the one thing that they were relying on, being able to brute force their way through and keep Tundra at an arm's length, because now Neely can take up this position once again in Garden. And it's going to be so hard for Alliance. 49 seconds left on the clock. The good news is they're not playing into an operator. As you've seen, is on the B site right now, not hovering around rafters. The bad news is that at the moment, A site is firmly under Tundra control, and Alliance is running out of time to be able to make a move. They've got the weaponry, but they don't have the space. Cloudburst has to be invested. That's immediately going to pull out the Nova Pulse. Not going to be able to find much of concussion, but we are having an absolute dust-up in Garden right now. Spike gone down, Magna drops the wall. Paragon still alive on the Astra, does have the Cosmic Divide if they want to use it, but they know how dangerous it can be. If you muffle the sound cues, you won't know where Alliance have repositioned themselves. Isn't going to invest it. They found the two players in hell. There's the Cosmic Divide. Now that they know everyone's coming for main, it's going to allow the Diffuse to get stuck, and Tundra will be able to defeat Alliance. The golden streak is gone. All of our predictions up in the air as Tundra, after an absolute gargantuan series, are going to be able to take the match, take third map, and finally topple the undefeated Alliance.
Yeah, I don't think anyone expected Tundra to be able to do this. We did say it was going to be close. We did expect it to maybe go to round 3. We expected to map 3. We expected a couple of overtimes, but I don't think that anyone expected Tundra to ruin Alliance's undefeated streak, and this just solidifies their position in that top 4. They are definitely going to be going to playoffs, and so is Alliance. But what a beautiful performance coming through from Tundra. I don't think this was expected at all. Genuinely not expected from myself. I know Tundra is a really incredibly strong team, but so far there have been a couple of cracks in the armor, and there were a couple of things that had to be polished out. But this game here on Ascent, Tundra just proves that they have put in the work, they have put in the research, they have put in the homework, and they are here for that Pathfinder spot.
What a turnaround as well, right? It looked a little bit rough for Tundra at spots, but they were able to really adapt around the strategy that Alliance threw. Haven, we went from them just falling prey time and time again to that KO and the Jet combo. Then we moved over to Breeze, the map that they chose, and they decided, oh well, if a Flash and a Jet combination worked for you, why can't it work for us? And we saw the Breach get to come into play, and we thought, when we saw the compositions as we moved over to Ascent and we looked at what Tundra were running out with, and we saw a lack of those flashes, we were worried, we were concerned. We didn't know whether or not Yusin would be able to find the same amount of value, the same setup that the team would allow. But they made it work, and it is going to be Kragon's Astra who's going to be picking up MVP. And I mean, the dude played Astra so well. Sometimes, yes, the Cosmic Divides for both of the teams did benefit the other side a little bit. But that final Cosmic Divide, the Nova Pulses, the Grav Wells, all of it comboing up so that Yusin can get those shots off, that you can go for that delay, the slow burn, and you can see the panic as Alliance realized they've got a lockdown, we've got a lockdown, we just threw in our best ultimate, our best chance at being able to actually zone this team off. The second that they knew we can't push through Garden, there's a Nova Pulse in our way, we can't try and get on top of the Astra in time, we're going to lose the clock, we're not going to be able to set up a crossfire, our two players are trapped in hell, there is no crossfire where we can punish them as they move through from rafters or even A main. It was absolutely perfect. And Tundra, they played their hearts out. They're able to keep the mentality up, the fortitude through every single time. I just seem to benefit them so much more. And they are worthy winners, as they will finally be able to best Alliance.
And the only team that has been able to best Alliance is Tundra. And I think that is a feat of its own. That's something to be incredibly proud of. And not to take away from Alliance, they played really, really well, but they were the favorites coming into this matchup. And Tundra proving us all wrong once again. They did that with Excel. They're doing it with Alliance. It's like as long as the team is above them in the standings, they will take that win and they will make it work for them. And it's just so refreshing to see a comparison between Tundra when, Polaris had just started. They looked like there were a couple of things that they had to iron out. They looked like they are good as a team. They are good at playing off of each other. You can tell they have a lot of history together as a team, but it looked like they weren't really able to continuously and consistently bring that out into the games that they were playing. And then you go on to Breeze and you're starting to see, okay, Tundra's looking pretty strong right now. I want to see more of this. And then we're going to the third map on Ascent, and Tundra's like, guys, we are here to stay. We want this win. We want the title. We want that playoff spot. And they managed to secure it. And I'm really, really proud of them, because I feel like they have come a long way from, the first week of Polaris, and everyone's like, oh, yes, they have the ability, but they haven't really shown us just yet what they are capable of. And even in some of the interviews, really, when we did the post-match interviews with some of the Tundra players, they're like, yeah, we have a couple of issues that we want to work on. And just that honesty and the ability to self-reflect and identify exactly what they need to do. And they were able to do it. And there we go. They were able to defeat Alliance. They really, brought their S-tier gameplay, not A-tier, not B-tier, not their S-tier gameplay coming through from Tundra as they defeated Alliance. And yeah, Alliance mentioned they are a worthy opponent. Tundra is one of those teams that they are worried about. There we go. Tundra proving to us exactly why. And maybe Alliance, maybe there was a couple of different things that they could have done, but I feel like that's always going to be the case in Valorant. There's, a couple of minor mistakes that are going to happen here and there. And as long as the opposing team is able to punish you for those mistakes, and that's exactly what Tundra did, they're going to be walking away with the win. So I think for both teams so far, this is an incredibly, incredibly good learning experience from both Tundra and Alliance. This was neck-on-neck gameplay, really close up until those last few rounds on Ascent. And I just want to congratulate both teams for coming so far in Polaris. They have done incredibly well, and it was an absolute joy to watch both of these teams today.
Yeah, I mean, it's always the best, right? When you have these close-knit matches of Valorant and you get to see the adaptation coming through and the games go down to the wire, and it's these tiny little moments where players just absolutely pop off. And we saw that from both of these sides. It was an absolute joy to witness the KO and the Jet getting paired up. It was an absolute joy to witness Yassine's Jet with the operator on Ascent, which I'm still saying it's the strongest map. I know that they don't have the best track record when it comes to win percentage, but I think just off of the back of Yassine's Jet with that operator, Tundra should get at least like a 20% increase on their win chances on this map, because it goes up exponentially. They had such a good grasp of where to position, where to play, the adaptation coming through, and the cosmic divides that they turned against their opponents as well.
Yeah, and speaking of Yassine, that's exactly the player that we have ready for the interview. Hello, Yassine. Welcome.
How you doing?
And I'm good, thank you. How are you doing? How does it feel? Congratulations. You guys broke Alliance's undefeated streak.
Yeah, but I think most of the people saw it coming. Obviously, it was a personal match. I saw a lot of shooting my dead body, a lot of teabagging my dead body, and then I called Villius. I told him, Chief, they're bullying me, and in all honesty, he popped off on Ascent, and I'm gonna be real. Like, this is the best we've played as a team. Ignore the mistakes that are being made, because mistakes will always happen. It's what you do after it, And we've had this issue where if something bad happens, then it can kind of snowball into something worse. And today, it was just a different aura, a different team, And I gotta give a big shout out to Salah, the coach, because he told us, if we're gonna make it, you better watch this episode called Ubuntu on Netflix. And we all went on and watched it. And Ubuntu is basically, I cannot be the best I can be until you are the best you can be, kind of. It's a philosophy, right? And it really feels like everyone took it to heart and started looking themselves in the mirror and being like, what can I do to help my team, right? And this goes to show, because honestly, after losing Haven, we all thought we would win it. A really close Breeze coming into Ascent. They got some rounds in the beginning. We just kept playing, we played round by round, fucking round by round, I'm proud of the lads.
Yeah, you guys took it personally, and we can really tell from that gameplay, specifically on that last map. It was really close and a lot of good decisions coming through. And as you mentioned, previously at the start of Polaris, if there was a little mistake that was coming through from you guys on Tundra, it would kind of crumble the team a little bit, but we were just talking about it earlier, how good and how refreshing it is to see how far you guys have come as a team. And just, you kind of mentioned as well in a couple of interviews before that you felt like a couple of changes need to be made, and that's exactly what you guys did. But I'm going to throw it to Moxie here and ask her if she happens to have any questions.
So, first of all, congratulations on the win, and thank you for having such a close game of Valorant. It was an absolute joy to watch. Moving forward and sort of looking at the composition that you guys came out with, we've seen the Neon, and we've seen you specifically run the Neon. I have to ask, without giving too many game secrets away, what exactly decides the conditions for whether or not you pick up the Jet or whether you come out on the Neon?
Honestly, it's a team decision. I kind of just go with what they think will be the best pick. But the thing is, I remember watching. I think Boaster said it on stream. The problem with Neon is that Raze and Jet are just so good, right? Like, I think Neon is a fantastic agent, and I truly believe that when people master it, even maybe that it can be a really dangerous pick. But when you have Jet and Raze, it's hard to replace those two, honestly. It's hard. But it depends on what the team wants, Like, they called me before practice. They said, hey, man, can you play Jet? Can you play Raze? Can you do Neon? And I'm just happy to have the confidence from them. And they really trust me and push me forward. And I'm just grateful.
And you guys also pushed Alliance really for those boundaries, and you really made them work for it. But I kind of want to throw back to the answer that you gave us earlier, where you mentioned that you guys expected to win Haven. So how exactly did, that not happen? And how come you guys were so confident? You're like, yeah, we're going to take this win.
The problem was, they got pistol. We won one, then we lost one. So they got that 2-1, 2-1, 2 thing going on for them. We literally played no rounds with guns. And after we got the 7-5 half, I still felt, I told the lads, good fucking comeback. We're going to win this game. And I think the difference was when Malle Bonker was droning C, he kills one and he tags another one, and I have two lads behind me in B, and I'm like, let's just walk in B. I did not say go C because it was hectic, so they decided to go towards A and die from the KO, and then it was just kind of big yikes. But I think if we just would have walked C there, got the free frag of the guy tagged stairs, we would have been fine. But shit happens. Most important thing is the power of now. Whatever happened has happened. You cannot change it. It's not real. The future is not real. The only thing we've got is right fucking now. So when we're playing round by round, game by game, and we stay 110% focused, that's when we're gonna shine. And of course, play for each other, with each other. No hero plays.
And then moving forward, because obviously, this cements your place in playoffs. You are going to be moving forward in this tournament, which means you're going to be playing on patch 4.04. Do you think we're going to be seeing a big shift in terms of the meta? And how do you think 100%. It's going to differ if we are?
100%. It's gonna be so fun to play the new patch. I low-key when they released the patch on first practice, I accidentally tilted Malle because I said, "Why are we even practicing this patch?" And he got upset with me and told me that, "Hey, we got a game on Monday," So it's like, yeah, that's true. But I'm super excited about the new patch, and I think a lot of new agents, Brimstone is gonna make an entrance, I think, and that Steam Beacon is so fun to play with and around, and I'm really curious to see where we're gonna land. But I'm excited about the new patch.
Well, I'm excited about the playoffs and seeing you guys move forward. Congratulations on securing that spot. And before we do end this interview, I would like to ask if you have any final mentions that you would like to share with us, as this is going to be your last game here in the regular tournament.
Obviously, I think fantastic to be a part of this. I'm happy we got the chance. The most important thing is realizing that this game means absolutely nothing if you lose the next one. We need to maintain this aura we've built. We need to maintain this focus, and we need to show up every practice, every game, until we finally hit our goals, which is champions. And of course, challengers is on the fucking way, so we're going to get there too. But we really need to maintain this focus, really need to maintain this aura, because you cannot get satisfied. This is not a huge win by any means. We were counting on making playoffs. The fact that we were so close is a bad thing. So, we just got to maintain it and get better day by day, and hopefully we'll get all the way.
Well, thank you for that. And I want to ask
Thank
Moxie
you.
if she happens to have any final questions.
I mean, I'm just gonna put in a request of next time I'm casting you. Please play the neon. I've been trying to manifest.
I'll try. I'll
for
hear with the
so
lads, see
long.
what they
Every
say.
single time I've got a little summoning circle to be like, they'll play Haven, they'll play neon, and maybe it will happen. I'm yet
Maybe
to
next
see
year.
it.
Just for you.
Oh. Well, thank you so much for your performance
Thank
today. And
you.
again, congratulations. Go enjoy the celebration.
I will.
And have a
Thank
good
you.
evening.
You too. Bye.
Thank you. Well,
I'm
that
gonna
was
hold him to it.
I'm gonna hold you. You're like, yeah. No, you have to go. You know, they're gonna go into a game, and you're like, no. At gunpoint, you have to
Yeah,
go and
yeah.
play neon. Like now, you promised him.
You
But
promised.